Kathy Schaefer, and I'm the Director of Learning Ministries here at Friedens Lutheran Church, and I'm a deacon of the ELCA.
I'm Pastor Rebecca Knox. I came to Berks County in 2000, and I've served in multiple congregations, some in transitional situations as an interim pastor, and some as they called pastors, sometimes full-time, sometimes part-time. So right now I'm a part-time pastor at Zion Spies Lutheran Church here in Reading, Alsace Township. I'm also the designated pastor at Salem Shelters Lutheran Church, and I'm also a part-time chaplain at the Reading Hospital.
We've been part of the Oley cluster here at Friedens for the past 20 years, and being able to work with Camp Noah started in the winter of 2021 when a number of the cluster congregations got together to just talk about what we could do for the children. Three of the cluster congregations, St. Joseph and St. Paul's and Friedens, had child care centers. And we were seeing the toll that the pandemic was taking on the children in their lives, and thought this is really a disaster zone, if you will. Maybe not a physical disaster like a tornado or a flood or those kinds of things where we teach children resiliency skills, but this was definitely an emotional time for young people. And we were trying to figure out what could we do to help them through this time. And Camp Noah just kept coming to mind.
When I feel sad,
I feel like crying.
When I am proud,
I feel like trying.
when I feel curious,
I want to know.
when I am impatient,
I want to go.
when I feel angry,
I look like this.
when I feel happy,
I smile all day.
when I am puzzled,
I make a shrink. I give a shrug.
when I feel loving,
I want to hug.
So Camp Noah is an outgrowth of Lutheran Social Services in Minnesota, and started with the flooding of the Red Rivers. And when Hurricane Katrina hit, then it became a nationwide ministry that was shared from that region, and a lot of other people were able to benefit. It's a day camp model that builds resiliency and hope for folks that have been through traumatic situations. And so this congregation and so many others have gone to Camp Noah's. In 2017, there were a lot of hurricanes in the Caribbean and the southern United States. I happened to be serving at St. Luke's Lutheran in Reading at the time, and we had a lot of folks coming from Puerto Rico after Puerto Rico was hit really hard. And so that led to us hosting 2018 Camp Noah as it became a bilingual program, English and Spanish. Since then, Camp Noah, I think, like all of our collaborations, has been strengthened by having so many different communities participating and different people. And so it's actually multiple languages and has been culturally adapted to a lot of different settings, which I think made it a strong enough ministry for us to participate, as we recognize that there are mental health issues and grieving issues. For every 13 people that died of COVID in the United States, one child lost a parent. And so that was something that I learned in the pediatric unit at the hospital, and really wanted to recognize as we've had kids losing family members and trying to figure out that grief and not being able to be in person because most of the schools were virtual at the time. And so it was really a gift to have this group and try and work on what we could do together as ministry to help bring some healing in the midst of a pandemic.
We were very comfortable in going to someplace else to help with Camp Noah. And this was a very unique situation where we were going to host and be the folks that created a team to come and be here locally. So we knew very early that there was no way our small cluster would be able to do it all by ourselves. And so we widened the net, and really I said, I got my dream team together of folks that could come together and help us run the day camp. And so just really cast a wide net for West Berks, East Berks mission districts, and asking a variety of folks to be able to lead. And then just even the local scene, being able to get the food together and make sure everybody would get fed, make sure that the money would be raised to be able to host it. So parents dropped off their children, and they were greeted with breakfast and some small craft ideas that kept them busy at the breakfast table until we were ready to have an opening together. And so then we met at the Oley Fairgrounds, and so nice open air space, pavilions, and a band shell, if you will. And so it was at that space that we were able to have our openings, where there were puppets and actors and songs, and the story was set up for that day. Each of the 5 days went through the Noah story. So how did Noah prepare? How did the storm affect? What did they do during the storm? What happened when the storm was over, and how did they build resiliency, if you will? Ours was very unique because at that time, last summer, the storm was still all around us. The pandemic is still happening today. And so it had a little different twist for us all to be thinking about. But then after the opening, they went into small groups, into age-appropriate groups to talk about and dialogue about the story, and to talk about their feelings and what they were experiencing with others their own age.
Just want to give a shout out not only to the ELCA and the Synod, but also to the folks of Trinity Warnersville. They have an endowment that is intentionally set up to help other people and other ministries, and they've been very generous with that. And so they had some leftover money from the last time we did Camp Noah together, and were able and willing to kind of pay it forward. And that became the seed money, which also encouraged other giving and other congregations all across the Synod, North and Southeast Penn Synod, in fact, to support and make this happen. And hopefully, as Southeast Penn has had a lot of tornadoes and challenges and floods also, hopefully we'll continue to pay that forward and celebrate ministries together. I celebrate the fact that we don't have huge churches in our cluster. Sometimes the little churches are the ones that are really making a big impact, and we saw that with the confirmation retreat. So I just want to encourage congregations that are feeling too small to count, or that wondering where God is in their lives, to take some time to be quiet, to pray, but also to look around, because that's where this grew out of. It was a dream beyond anything any of us anticipated. So I think just a little encouragement to folks to keep looking toward one another, not necessarily as competitors, but rather as co-Christians and people of faith working together, even beyond the Christian family.
In the next couple months, I'm winding down my ministry here at Freedom's, as I will be retiring in July. So lots of good things going on and moving forward. I'm not quite sure what God has in mind for me next, but I know God has something in mind. And I have a feeling I need to be in retirement in order to hear that voice and where it's leading me. Because right now, there's not a strong pull towards any sense of ministry, what's after retirement. But I do know that God is calling me somewhere, and I just need to be able to listen.